What's good, y'all? So today is going to be another one of my off the hip vids. So what that entails is that I have no notes, and this is just gonna be a video that I talk about with just thoughts that come from the top of my head. And so today I'm having a little bit of an existential crisis because my birthday is in a couple of days. I will be turning 24. I'm always blessed to be able to celebrate another year of life. I think my thing is just, I guess, really just to get like straight into it. The reason why I'm making this video today is just because I think I just get caught up in just comparing myself to others. And this is really a social media thing, to be honest. Go online and just see people that are my age, that already seem to have it good. And I'm not like really necessarily, I guess, more in the aspect of, I guess, the feeling of accomplishment, especially with like, I guess, this going on, YouTube and photography and content creation as a whole. So really it's just in that aspect. And I tend to just get caught up in seeing how other people do things and how other people live their lives and what other people have accomplished already, and I kind of compare that to where I'm at in life. And not to say like that I'm like behind, because at the end of the day I'm the only one that's competing against myself. I'm not competing against anybody else. It's just, for me personally, it's just really hard to not do that. Like I said, because I think, I go onto social media and I just see people that are probably like my age or younger that do content creation, that do photography, that have, I guess really the jobs that I would like to have. And something that I need to remember is just that I have been doing this for about a year. It'll be almost a year since I've done YouTube. It hasn't even been a full year since I started working with that team at the church. I just got my first paid job not too long ago. So in my, I guess, like personal career, I am just beginning. And that's something that I tend to forget. And I saw this thing on social media actually, where it's the fear of just beginning, because what that entails is that there are some people out there that are just too scared to begin because they won't be good at it. They won't be good at what they start initially. I think that's kind of where I'm at, is like, whenever I start things, I want to be good at it really quickly. And whenever there is something that like kind of stumps me, like I get really discouraged, and sometimes like I'll just drop it. But there are other times where I'll just like continue to work and just, if nothing really seems to be going my way, kind of like I'll just get really frustrated. And I guess, a good example of that was, my first paid job. That was, like, I mentioned this last video, but it was like an indoor photography / real estate kind of shoot. And that was my first time ever shooting that kind of photography. And so whenever I was doing that, like, it was really, I can just remember, it was just really like kind of not difficult, but it's like, okay, like, am I going to be good at this? Is the client going to like their pictures at the end? Am I going to edit these good enough? Am I getting the right angles? And it was just a bunch of different things where, I was just like, just kind of like really nervous because it's something that I've never done before, and I was already focusing on the end result rather than the process that it takes to get to the end result. And then like I also mentioned this last video where I like towards the end I was just getting frustrated because we were doing like taking our final shots, and there was this one shot that I just couldn't really get down, and I was just getting so like mad at myself, and that's a whole different thing. And starting things is kind of just a like a fear of mine because, as I had mentioned, starting out, like I'm not going to be good, and I always want to be good, and then that leads me to like compare myself with other people that don't know I exist on social media, and it's just this deep like nature within me to just want to just be good and to be good enough to just make something out of myself. I think whenever that doesn't happen, I just get really frustrated with myself. And, like I said, that just leads to like a bunch of just comparing. And I had mentioned like my birthday too, like I'm going to be 24. And, in this day and age, I've long been considered an unk by now. And like, it's just so stupid, but like, because like whenever I was 16 or in my teens, like what I considered old was like 60s, 70s, but now it's like that age is getting like lower and lower. And, in this day and age, people can accomplish a lot of things quicker. And I just think with like Gen Z in particular, like, of course you have the people that like already like accomplished like a lot of stuff at a very young age. And then you have the people that are just like trying to figure it out. And, there's nothing wrong with like figuring out where you want to go in life. And I just think that those people, including me, just get so caught up in comparing where we are with where a lot of different people are. And that's something that can really kill the ambition that a lot of us have. I guess to like bring it back to like the birthday thing, I think like where I'm at is I am 24 and I am still really trying to just figure it out. I guess to just get a little bit more personal, like I work a retail job. I don't want to be stuck working a retail job. I want to be out here like just doing, like just following my passions. And I think it's hard nowadays because, well, not hard, but I think that's just kind of where I'm at. And it's just, I would like to be in a different position, really. Because at the end of the day, like this is, my own personal path, and I am the person that determines where I go. And so, and I think I'm trying, I've been trying hard because I think there's a part, like there's an old me where this wouldn't be happening. Like I wouldn't be making these videos. I wouldn't be working with the church. I wouldn't be out here like having my first paid job. And, I'm really proud of all that I've accomplished this year. And this year was definitely full of a lot of firsts for me. And I think that's really good. And, it's only up from here, really. And, one prayer that I have for myself is just that I don't give up, and that I continue to just pursue these things. And, if it's in God's will that, I will prosper with these things, and, never really lose sight of, like where I'm at, or just always stay humble with these things that I'm doing. And saying that out loud, like this year being a lot of firsts, like it's something that I literally just realized, like, and like saying that out loud, it's like if I continue to do these things and continue to work hard at these things, something eventually has to come out of it. It takes a lot of hard work and takes consistency. And I think that's going to be my motto for, 2026 is just to be consistent. Be consistent with this, be consistent with like trying to get jobs, be consistent, in all areas of my life. And I think, in the end, I just want to be proud of where I'm at and to just accomplish a little bit more. And that's really all. That's really it. Yeah, I'm sorry today I was a little bit, kind of all over the place. Like I said, like I have no notes, and this whole video is just me talking from the top of my head. But I have a lot of faith in myself, and it's not like I'm fully like discouraged to where it's really like troubling me, with comparing and all this stuff. It's just something that I get caught up in every once in a while. And, that's probably a sign to lay off the social media a little bit. But I think that's going to be it for today. Just one word of advice, just, don't get caught up in what other people are doing and just getting caught up in like their lives and like their livelihood and just comparing it to yours. That's definitely going to be, I feel like that's like a number one killer of just ambition. The wanting of doing things that you feel passionate about. And I feel like nowadays it's easier than ever with social media and just, people posting like all sorts of stuff, and it can definitely be discouraging. But I think if you really have this fire within you to just do more and to just accomplish more, it's really important that you don't get caught up in comparing your journey to others. And I think that's can't get any more simple than that. So, but I'm gonna end that video today. Again, I apologize if it was all over the place. Like I said, just it's a new chapter of my life. And I just want to, I think each year I want to be better than previous. I don't want to be, what's the word? Like stagnant. That's the thing that I hate, is just the feeling of being stagnant, like not going anywhere. And so I think like that's just something that, is like another fear of mine. But, that's me going on like another tangent. But hope y'all enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all soon. Peace.